We're really excited this morning on the Morning Kick that we're getting to deal with social media. And right now, isn't it interesting that we're trying to communicate, we're trying to be transparent, but how do we do it? How do we get in front of people? I know there's a lot of people at home scrolling through their phone, spending time on their Instagram accounts, their Facebook, and there's probably a few Snapchat users and TikTok users out there as well. But we're pleased to have on the Morning Kick Mel Kettle to give us some advice. Mel is a social media mentor, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about her background very shortly. But Mel, thank you for joining us on the Morning Kick.
Thanks so much for inviting me, Andrew. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today.
Both of us are caffeined up. We're ready to face the day. And you've probably been quite in demand. I know that you do webinars all across the country. And from my understanding, you focus on not only the commercial area, but you're also working with nonprofits and associations. Give us a little bit of background. melkettle.com, that's your website. But where did this all begin?
Oh, it's such a great story. I, like many, signed up to Twitter about 11 years ago and just fell in love with it immediately and signed up so that I could, follow and have a perv on all of my favorite celebrities who mostly were in the food world. So people like Jamie Oliver, Nigella Lawson and a few others. And after about, maybe 2 months of being on Twitter all the time, Lisa Ma from Networks Events in Brisbane rang me and said, Mel, I see you on Twitter all the time. Can you come and speak at our next Networks event on how to use social media for business? And I said, sure, I'd love to. Thanks so much. Hung up and Googled how to use Twitter and social media for business because I had no idea. Little did I know that was the start of what has been 11 years working quite actively in the social media space with so many different clients. And as I said to you earlier, Andrew, I've only been telling that story for about the last 12 to 18 months because I feel now that I have the credibility to say that when I started, I had no idea.
Oh, you certainly have the credibility now.
Thank
Anywhere
you.
I look, if there's a women's business group happening, if there's a non-profit conference happening, it's Mel Kettle on social media. So you've obviously caught up. And I think it might have been Richard Branson that at one point said, if you're offered a job and you don't know how to do it, grab it and learn. And it looks like you've embraced that whole idea.
Absolutely. I went to an event at QUT when I first moved to Brisbane about 20 years ago, and this beautiful, wonderful, amazing woman called Wendy McCarthy was one of the speakers. And someone said to her, how on earth did you overcome your fear to do all the amazing things you've done in your career? And she said, one of my mentors said to me early on, don't say no to this opportunity, Wendy. If I believe you can do it, why don't you believe you can do it? Just say yes. And that has stayed with me ever since. And I cannot tell you how many things I've said yes to where I've hung up the phone or walked out of the meeting and just gone, holy crap, how am I going to do this? But it sounds exciting and I'm keen, so let's just give it a go. And I think that's now starting to hold me in really good stead as we move further into the whole COVID situation because the majority of my business is speaking on stages, running face-to-face training, facilitating strategic planning days, again, in a room with other people in the room. And now I'm in the middle of just setting up a huge home studio, not a home theatre, but I guess a home stage and a home facilitation place so that I can still do all of that work, but do it online and have a couple of cameras so you don't just get the talking head angle, which can be really boring for people. You can see my whiteboards, you can see my flip charts. Well, it's great for this short-term thing, but if you're doing an 8-hour training session, you want more than looking at somebody staring at a camera. And so that'll all be up and running pretty soon.
We said the Morning Kick was an opportunity to kick people into gear. And one of the things we realize is that even though some of these social media channels, sure, TikTok's just arrived, but Facebook, LinkedIn, all of these ones have been going for years, and yet businesses are still not using them. Let's give them a reason to actually start using social media now. Why should I get on these social media channels? What are they doing for me?
People expect leaders to be seen and heard. And people expect businesses and brands to be seen and heard. And if you're not being seen and heard in an online space, then especially at the moment, people aren't going to see you or know you. And so the more you can be embracing your internal online networks for your staff and your external online networks, such as Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and maybe TikTok as well, then you're going to miss opportunities if you don't. And I just look at some of the businesses that I'm currently giving my money and my attention to, and they are embracing social media in the biggest way. And a great example is Graham from Suncoast Fresh. Suncoast Fresh is a fruit and vegetable supplier who has traditionally supplied into restaurants and cafes. That business has gone. So he really, really quickly pivoted to start creating and promoting vegetable boxes and fruit boxes and a few other products to be delivered to your home. And the way that he's been promoting that has been through his incredible use of Instagram in particular, to a lesser extent Facebook, but mainly through Instagram and through Instagram stories. And he this is his third week this week of doing this. It's our third week this week of getting our box. And last week he put a message up on Wednesday morning saying, I'm so overwhelmed and grateful for the love that you've given us. Yesterday, Tuesday, we delivered 1,000 boxes and we have sold out for the rest of the week. And I just thought,
Isn't that awesome?
dude, that's in a week. That's pretty impressive. And it's because of how much he's embraced social media.
Fantastic stuff. It's interesting that we were talking with Brett Briggs from Oikos Cafe, and next week we're catching up with Leanne Hughes, who's a online facilitator.
I love
And
Leanne.
both of these people are telling us that we need to keep in front of our customers during this time. We need to remind them that we're still here. They may not have a daily requirement to deal with us because, hey, things are changing. We're staying at home, washing our hands. But we need to remind them that the brand, the personal brand, is still available and what we represent, isn't it?
Exactly. And we need to be reminding people we're there. We may not need to, it may not be the right time to be selling your product. And I know for my product and services that I provide now, the last few weeks has not been the time for me to sell into my clients because they are just scrambling to work out what do they need to do, how do they get their people set up to work from home, how do they keep their doors open in many cases. And so I've just been reaching out to them both through Zoom calls, through email, through social media, and saying, I'm here if I can help you. You can book in a free time for half an hour to have a conversation with me about anything that you need to work out with your business. Or if you're just overwhelmed and you need someone to talk to, I'm really happy to do that as well. And I think right now for me, it's showing how can I be of service to these people? And then when the time is right, I'll know that it's time, okay, I can start, reminding them that I do need to earn money. And here's some of the ways that I do that. And I think I'll just continue. The organisations that do a really great job on social media right now are not those who are aggressively selling. They're those who are being of service.
Let me ask a question. What are some of the things that I can do right now? If I'm a business that does have some time, whether it's I'm considering my business does need to pivot like Grow Fresh, or I'm just looking at my options in terms of preparing for the second half of 2020, how can I review what I'm doing on social, think about options, and then maybe take some action?
So I think one of the things that I've been doing a bit of a plan. I've got a 12-week plan for the next 12 weeks. And I'm also looking at what's the best case scenario, the worst case scenario, and the likely scenario for what's going to be happening to my business and to me personally over the next 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. I believe that it's going to be about 12 months before things get back to normal, whatever normal is, or whatever normal is going to look like, because it's not going to look like it has looked for the last 6 to 12 months. So I'm just working out, what do I need to be doing? And then what's the appropriate messaging around that? So a lot of my messaging is around how can I be of service? How can I provide things that might be of benefit to you and to help you? I'm also going to start providing some messaging around soon saying, you're used to seeing me face-to-face on a stage or in your boardroom. Well, now I've got a virtual boardroom and I've got a virtual stage. And so I can still speak at your event. I can still run your facilitation day. I can still do your strategic planning session for you. I can still provide coaching and mentoring to individuals or your teams. And here's the great way that I've got a setup at home so that it looks like I'm in your office, although we know that we're staring at each other through a screen. And I think with your business, you need to think about what do you have that's relevant today? What can you have that's relevant tomorrow? And what do you think about? What do you need to think about that's going to be relevant in 6 months to 12 months? Because those products and services, depending on your business, might be quite different. Obviously, you also need to think about what's the messaging that you want to get out to your customers and your broader stakeholders around your business continuity plans, your flexibility in business, and your security. So think about the language that you're using. Are you shutting down or are you hibernating? Are you taking a break or are you getting rid of everybody? So the language that you use will be reassuring or terrifying to your customers. I was chatting to a client the other day who's the CEO of a major financial institution, and I said to him, you need to tell your members and your broader stakeholders that you're not standing down any staff, because the sooner that they realize that you're in a good financial position, the quicker they'll be comforted that their money is safe with you. And he said to me, I hadn't actually thought about that. And I said, the number one priority for people right now is, do I have enough money? And is it safe where I've got it kept? And so as the CEO of a financial institution, you have a responsibility to be making sure that that message gets out in a way that's going to be reassuring to people.
I couldn't agree more. And it's one of the things that I think a lot of people are going to be looking for in business partners, suppliers, existing relationships is, do we actually have the same confidence in them as we have in our own business? So I think you're right. We've got to get the message out, whether it's on our website, our
Yep.
social media channels, even our EDMs, those email newsletters back to our clients.
Yeah,
I did a
absolutely.
post the other day of how many email newsletters about COVID have been bland, actually offering no value, just simply going like a robot
Mm.
through the things. We've got to communicate those key messages very strongly.
I had
Now, let's
to just,
go.
sorry, quickly on that. I had two emails the other day from suppliers that I use, and it was really, really obvious that one of them didn't care about his customers because there was no salutation. There was no, hi, Mel, how are you? This is a really strange time right now. It was straight into, just want to let you know that our fees are increasing on the 1st of May.
Oh,
And I
wow.
read it and went, well, I won't be continuing with you as of the 1st of May, because there's zero empathy in that email. Whereas the other one I received was, hi, Mel, it's a really hard time right now. Just want to let you know that we've offered this amazing new service and it's free until July for everybody.
Changes the whole tone of the
It does.
relationship, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Well, if you're wanting to get in touch with Mel, let me just introduce you to Mel's website at melkettle.com. And this is a great opportunity for you to find out not only what services Mel offers, but also some incredible testimonials all the way through the website, Mel.
Thank you.
Obviously, over the time that you've been working with various clients in both commercial and non-profit. But you were telling me that you've also taken some initiatives yourself that people will be able to go on your website and find out about not only your podcast, but you've got some webinars starting very shortly. Can you tell us about those?
I do. So I'm just launching a Wednesday web chat with Mel, with me, obviously, and they'll start every Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Brisbane time, for at least the next couple of months, and then I'll just assess how they're going. And the first one next week has the theme of strategic communication for leaders. The following one will be an Ask Me Anything, so it'll be less structured, with questions that I've had from people over social media, but also come along with your questions. They're free. They'll go for about 45 minutes. Probably not next week, but the week after, you'll get to see my new, hopefully impressive setup in my little home studio. But yeah, I'd love you to come. And if you have any questions about marketing, communication, social media, leadership, how to look after yourself during a crisis, is another area that I've been doing a lot of work on recently, then I'd love to see you there.
Let's very quickly have a look. I see some beautiful purple books on the background behind you there. Tell me about these books. The Social Association. What's this all about?
So this is my first book. It came out about 2 years ago. It's about it's called the Social Association, and it talks through the 5 key steps that you can use to develop a really solid online presence. So at the time, I was doing a lot of work with member-based organisations, so it's written in their language, but it's really relevant for any kind of organisation, whether you're for profit or for purpose. And it talks about how to create a social media strategy, how to create content that cuts through the clutter, how to determine what analytics you need to look at and how to measure them, how to be more customer focused, and most importantly, how to do all of it so that it doesn't suck up every spare minute that you have. What do you need? What are some tactics and some tips that you need to be thinking about so that you can use social media in a way that's really impactful and insightful and still manages to educate, entertain, and inform the people who you're wanting to reach?
Now, it's fair to say that a lot of people with social media start to use tools for publishing, for creating content, but that can get us in trouble, can't it? I think even at this time, there's probably a few people that need to check their social media schedules to make sure they're not saying anything that's kind of going to
Mm.
make the brand look silly in light of COVID-19.
Absolutely,
Any
and
with a
that's something
couple of
I got
tips
caught
there?
out on as well. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Someone said to me about a tweet that went out, "I don't think this is an appropriate tweet for right now," and I looked at it and thought, "Oh, yeah, it's not," because it was about me speaking on a stage. Obviously, I'm not doing that right now. And so one of the things that I really recommend, if you use a social media scheduling tool, have a look through what you've got scheduled to come up and just make sure that it's the right message for the right time that we're currently going through. Also, have a think about what do you need to change with your future messaging. Is the content that you've got planned, are the blog posts that you've got planned that you've already written, the social media posts you have planned you've already written, are they still appropriate for the situation and the time that we're going through right now? Or do they need to be tweaked? Or do they just need to be removed and replaced with something else? And if you remove them, keep them in a little bank so that you can use them when the time is right, sometime down the track.
Absolutely brilliant. Mel,
Mm.
we could go so much deeper, but I think what we're going to do is suggest that people get along to your Wednesday webinar. Go to melkettle.com, pick up Mel's book, and I'm sure that you're going to
Mm.
find out so much more about how you can create content, how you can get that transparent brand out into the marketplace. People are wanting to engage with true brands, and Mel will be able to point you in the right direction as to how to create that. Thanks very much for your time today.
Thanks so much, Andrew. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, we're going to have more coming up next week. I'm really looking forward to talking with Leanne Hughes, who's going to be joining us after Easter. We are having an Easter break, so I encourage you to come back to us basically next week. We're still going daily here on the Morning Kick. Now, you know what we're trying to do? Let's continue to flatten the curve. Australia is doing well. To do that, we do need to make sure that this Easter we stay at home and don't lose sight of the fact we've got to wash our hands. Now, here on the Morning Kick, we've also been encouraging people to actually look at their business, and we've provided a Thrival checklist for people to be able to do that. Now, just very quickly, here we go. Nice to get a comment coming in from Renee. Well done, Excite Media. Loved the Morning Kick. We appreciate your support, Renee. And we'd love to be able to get any more questions coming into the show as we do things. So if you'd like to jump on board and leave a comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. And if you're looking at one of the replays, please leave a question and we'll follow those up. So very quickly, just having a look at the Thrival plan, all you need to do is go to excitemedia.com.au/thrive. That's what you want your business to be doing in the second half of 2020. To do that, we've got 6 essential checklists that will help you pivot your business straight away. Look for growth opportunities, give you a boost in sales. We've got 15 must have tools and resources that will help you out, and 7 action plan templates. This 20-page document is easy to download. It's a Google Doc. You're welcome to share it. Please copy it and give it to your friends. We just want to see you thrive. Well, it's been great having you on the Morning Kick. We're going to be back next week. Join us then.